Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Pretty Little Podcast. I'm Allie Violet Vixen, and I'm here with my beautiful podcaster in crime.
Hi, guys. It's Jessie. Tonight, emerging from the underground music scene, Devil Master captivates audiences with the raw intensity, sinister melodies that pay homage to both hardcore punk and the bleak atmosphere of black metal. Their sound characterized by haunting riffs, relentless drumming, and demonic vocals that create an immersive and unsettling experience. Devil Master stands as a testament to the power of unbridled artistic expression and the enduring allure of the dark and extreme. Tonight we have one of my coolest friends, Tombstone Shadow or John.
What's
Hi.
up? How's it going?
Hey!
Hey.
Hey.
Great intro, Jesse.
Thank you. I
Wow, that
fucking
was
kicked
beautiful.
ass on
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah. I was there, pen, paper, lamp lit, quill in hand.
Candelabra.
Candelabra. I was doing it
Yeah,
all. Yeah,
very
I
cool.
went full in
Nice.
on that one. I was like, not to, stroke my own beaver, but I kind of killed it.
That have the
Um,
feels.
Thank you. All right, thank you for joining us tonight. How are you?
I'm good. I'm still reeling from Maryland Deathfest weekend. Just went to hang out and still exhausted from just being there. So
It was sweltering was an understatement, especially for the vampiric beans. I was like, I'm going to die. I'm dehydrated. I was like, I need a medic. I bought a Gatorade energy drink at one point. I didn't know they had combined the two, and it tasted like an Applebee's like cocktail. And I was like, get this away from me. So I couldn't even restore HP with that. But overall, it was a really good time. Also, who was your favorite? Who was your favorite band that you saw, like, or who surprised you?
Finally got to see the band Spirit Possession. They're
You're
they're a band that I've been dying to see for a very long time, and just incredible. Was very excited to finally get to see them, and they exceeded my expectations and more. Just sound wise, atmosphere. I think they were one of the coolest bands I got to see all weekend, honestly. So
They're amazing. Actually saw them at the upstairs of the church. It was the Halloween Bellwitch show they opened, and the like microphone thing that guy's got on his like rig. I was like incredible. Like the sound is so echoey and like the very cool band. Spirit Possession. Anyone should go and see them. The one that got me was Grave Miasma. The singer had like the bullet strap, and I was
I
like,
love them. I love when people rock the bullet belts or the bullet
oh
straps.
dude, I am a bullet belt fan. I'm a no, if bullet belt's got one fan, it's me. But like
Real.
so the bullet strap, I was like, your boy cooked. I was like, I was so impressed, and it was very DIY. Like you could tell
I
this
think
man.
that's impressive that they wore that on stage because those things are heavy.
Yeah, I was like, he is armed and ready. Like he's killing it. He was like swole daddy too. I was like, it was giving very much giving like a Rambo. I was like, he was Rambo up there, and I was ready. I was like, they drew first blood, but
it's
I
very
was
ballsy, man. Getting your hair stuck in that is, I can't imagine that's a
I
good
can't
time.
imagine. He had short hair, just
Okay.
so I feel like he didn't have to really worry about it. But I was like, the man cooked. The man cooked with the bullet strap. I'm over here like how to glue bullet belt to guitar strap. I'm like, get the industrial glue gun out. But
You have like such muscles after that performance.
I
I feel
know
like one performance would just automatically give you muscles.
the tickets, the pre-sale tickets already sold out for like the flow. Like, do you want to buy the tickets before that we even announce the bands? Like, they already sold out for the cheaper price. But I'm excited to go next year. I wanted to ask you personally, how did you get into heavy music?
It's honestly through my family. My grandmom's a metalhead, and my
Really?
uncle. So they're two huge influences. My grandmom is the coolest person who ever lived. She tattooed Ozzy on her knuckles, like he
What?
has it. She has like a full bodysuit of tattoos. She's a huge influence on like me getting into like all kinds of pretty much everything that I like, horror movies, music. Same with my uncle. My uncle took me to my first show. We went to go see Slayer in like 2001 at the Electric Factory. And then kind of was just like, well, I guess this is what I do now. This is the person that I am. So
You're like personality downloaded, grandma.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, my family's awesome. They're very, very cool, very supportive. But they definitely were like a huge influence on me getting into all this stuff. So
That's super, super sick. That was not the answer I expected, and not the one that I've gotten
Has
ever
grandma
before.
seen you perform?
oh yeah, we when we did the My Chemical Romance shows, we got a really good seats for that, and she's come to a bunch of her concerts. She's getting a little bit older, so she like tries to get into like an area where she can just like stand and hang out. But whenever we're in Philly, I try to get her to come to the show. So she loves it. She's so into it.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing. Grandma's got to come out to like Cousin Danny's.
I don't know. There's really nowhere to like. There's no place to hide at Cousin Danny's. It's
No,
just kind of
there's.
you're in the tussle that, no matter where you stand. So
It's funny. That's awesome, though. That's super, super cool. What are some of your main influences when you got into music, and how have those influences changed over time? Has there been like an evolution, like
I'd say there's
continue?
been an evolution. Well, yes and no. I feel like I've gone through cycles in my life where
Mhm.
I've kind of evolved a lot. And it always comes down to like the bands that I really liked when I was younger. Slayer and like there's just like classic bands like that. But yeah, it was just like finding about getting more and more into like the obscure stuff makes you appreciate the like the standards more, if you
Yeah,
will. So the more time I spent in like underground music, the more I was like, okay, well, I really like, I like Slayer, Venom, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The more theatrical, over the top, like evil heavy metal bands. That's
mhm.
like always been a huge influence on me. So
I totally get that. I also feel like what there's like the tier of like I like these bands now. I need to find the most niche things possible, and then you just end up circling back to like I do
yeah.
that chronically. Um, I was
What's
going
your favorite song to perform of yours?
Oh man. We have a song called Shrines and Cinder. It's like a really challenging song to play, but when it really like hits, it's like awesome. You know what I mean? I really
Mhm.
love playing that. That's like one of the songs that I like wrote almost from start to finish. So I take a lot of pride in it because it's like really weird.
mhm.
Um, like I have no musical background, no training, no anything like that. So I feel like everything I do is kind of just like on a whim. So that was one of the songs that I was like, wow, I can't believe I was able to write something like this. This is like pretty intricate and like a weird song riff and structure, you know what I mean? So I was very proud of it, and like, people tend to love it when we play it, and
Mhm.
you know, so I think that's the one.
That's awesome. That's like must be like the most rewarding feeling. Devil Master has so many elements of different genres. You're also in the hardcore band Scarab, which is a different kind of sound. Have you always been musically diverse, or have you always played more than one style of music?
Um, Technically, Devil Master was like my first like real band that I ever
Mhm.
had. So when I was a kid, I played in like a metalcore band with my cousin. That was like my first venture into music when I was in high school. Um, but I've always been like diverse in what I'm interested in, and I think it makes you appreciate everything more. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
I tend to kind of like I said, like kind of go in cycles where I'm like I get back into things. And growing up, I was like a major hardcore kid and went to a lot of hardcore shows at the church and stuff like that. So um, I wouldn't say it's like a evolution or anything for me, but it's like kind of returning back to that. And finding what I really liked about music when I was younger and like revisiting that. And it's a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah, I totally get that. I also love when people are always like, yeah, I used to go to the church all the time because I always meet people and I'm like, man, we must have been all smashed in there together, sweating it out.
Yeah, everyone the DNA on the walls and
Oh,
floors of that building, man.
I was in there for Orchid and I was like, I don't know how I did this in the summer. I was like, I must have lost 5 pounds.
Yeah, it was rough, especially like being younger and moshing and stuff. Like I don't even
Oh
move
yeah.
around anymore. I'm just standing
Anymore.
there, just like melting in the back of the venue. So
When I get in there now, I run. I'm like, I gotta get the 30-year-old wall. Like
yeah, the leaning wall, the good leaning
the
wall.
good
Every
leaning
venue's
wall.
got the good leaning wall.
Uh-huh. Oh man. I feel like Kung Fu Necktie took the good leaning wall for me when they cleared out. Now it's just the bathroom. That
Yeah.
outdoor bathroom section, but um
It took me like 15 minutes after getting to Kung Fu Necktie to figure out the bathroom situation.
oh, you were like, do you pee in front of everyone?
I'm like, is there one that's for women? Is there one that's just for men? Like, what is the deal? Because I'm the one that, like, I always get called out. Like, if I walk into the wrong spot, like, I always have that person that's like, you're going in the wrong door. And I, like, it's like pretty open, but
I was just confused. I was just confused when the bathroom became like a second level. But I'm happy they got rid of the pool tables. It was the best thing they ever did. Where did the name Devil Master come from?
It has like a couple different origins. First and foremost, like the style that we kind of draw from and like the biggest influence for us is like Japanese hardcore. Um, and one of the biggest bands in that like gave us a lot of influence was this band Zuo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they have like a lot of like themes like that, you know what I mean? They speak of
Mm-hmm.
that like a lot in their songs. They have like Son of Satan and stuff like that as like a rough song title that they have. So that was like the general vibe I was going for. I've also been like a big collector of movies my whole life and been like huge in the horror movie scene and collecting VHS was a huge thing for me. So it was like roughly influenced by this particular movie called The Devil Master.
Yeah.
But I was just like, let me kind of break this down and just be Devil Master, you know what I mean? Which is like an awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It's insane. Um, but yeah, it's just like a bunch of different things. I also just generally like the idea of the name because it's like has so many different meanings. People ask me what it means all the time, and it's like more like open to interpretation, depending on like the situation and stuff like that. But yeah, like in horror and music and stuff like that, and I just always thought it was like a really like grabbing name. It's like very on the nose, but it's also
Yeah.
like you see it, you read it, you're like, oh man, what is this all about?
I think it also sticks. Like, there's certain band names that I think is simplistic and but complicated enough to where you remember it, you know? Because there's some bands that are like really long titles. I'm like, oh, you know that one, whatever. But then there's bands like Pentagram or like Devil Master to where I'm like, or like Venom or something. That sticks in my brain. Like, I'm not going to forget that. I'm going to be like that band every time.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's able to be that way, and you know
Mhm.
what I mean. It's kind of a weird. We never had like any like idea of like marketing or anything like that. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
does have like a kind of a great marketing appeal to it because it's so simple, but it's also so like captivating in the sense that you're going to remember it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
well,
definitely
it's a
agree with
nice layout too. Like I feel like
Yeah.
you could do the really cool like heavy metal letters and like you could actually read that. Like I
Yeah, you
find on
gotta.
these flyers, I'm like, what is the name of this? Like it looks really awesome, but like I don't know your name.
I love
Man,
that stuff too. Yeah, but
I
it's like
like
yeah, you
it.
got to be able to read it.
I like when they Xerox it to the point where you really can't read it,
Yeah,
like
where
on
it's
the
like kind of
flyer.
like trippy.
I'm guilty of that myself. I make a lot of flyers and I'm like, this thing needs to look cooked, man. I gotta
They
like
need
run it
to
through a
look, it
bunch of
has to look
Xerox.
cooked as when it's been triple press Xerox and it turns into like that psychology, like the bubbles, like when they're like where it's like ink blots, like
Ink
what
blots.
does this look like to you? Like I like that. People will like, but the worst part is like I don't know if this is impressive or embarrassing. Is when you see the Xerox flyer and you're like, somebody's what is that? I'm like, oh, Bloodsport's playing, and they're like, what's wrong with you?
It's like a language that you learn.
Because I look at them and I don't know what half of them say.
Mm-hmm.
You learn to like decipher. It's like its own language at a point. You know what I mean? It becomes like like you're like I recognize this B from this band, so it's got to be like a B and then like the L and stuff. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it's just like very like not recycled, but it is like a common language that metal bands will use. They'll use very similar looking like letters and stuff like that. So
it ends up being like almost like pictorial, because I can be like, oh, the blood incantation patch goes this way because I don't know why, but it looked like that, you know. It's funny.
Also with Devil Master, you can have so much fun with like merch ideas and like.
Oh, they do. I'm like so impressed. I was gonna say the Tombstone Shadow makeup kit, incredible. Tell me everything that went behind making that. I need to know. And was it your idea, or were they like, we need this?
It was, you know, it's been funny because it was very odd early in our career as a band. Like one of the most contentious pieces of merch we ever made was a hat. People like lost their minds when we made hats. They just like they were so mad at us for some reason. I don't know why. It was just like a dad hat with the logo on it. Maybe it was just I don't know. That was until the makeup kit. The makeup kit is like obviously it's very tongue in cheek and it's like homage to like the old Halloween makeup kits and stuff like that. I think some people misinterpreted it as us like being like, here's a kit to do black metal makeup or something like that. I'm like, that wasn't it. A and B, it's like the makeup that we gave you is not. It's not going to do the trick.
Ever going to get the results from
no. So, I thought it was a really cool little like novelty piece of like merch, like a memorabilia thing, and like again, it's like obviously we take ourselves seriously and like as a band, and like it is like a thoughtful project we have, but at the same time, it's like you have to have fun with it a little bit too, and like we obviously aren't like immune to that. We know what we're doing and what's happening. Like I'm standing up on stage in a giant cape every night. It's like you got to laugh at it a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, like we do take everything that we do seriously. But the makeup kit was like, for Decibel Magazine thought it'd be like a really cool idea for us to do something similar to that.
It's always awesome to wear a cape every night.
I know, it's amazing.
Just had to throw that out there. I mean, that's like
it's the most empowering thing you can ever do is wear a giant cape.
Man, I was in the Wawa. In Center City. It was Halloween, and I had like I did the full vampire, and I caught myself in the mirror, and I forgot what I looked like, and I went, I look stupid as hell right now. And the Center City security guard just started dying laughing. I said that to myself. He was like cracking up, like tear rolling down his face. I was like, oh man. I just made that guy's night. Love the cape, though.
Capes are great. It's awesome.
Capes are great. I definitely do think that I immediately got from the makeup kit what it was. I was like, this is literally vintage Halloween. Like, exactly that. So I was stoked on it, personally.
I love that the bands and, like, the metal scene is now including makeup. Like, Elf.
They put out
the corpse paint. Like a lot of people have been wrapping it in, and as a makeup artist, I love it. I'm here for it.
I get it.
As long as they start giving me free shit, I'll be into it.
Yeah,
I spent a lot of money on makeup. I want some. We had this grand idea early on too to reach out to like Neutrogena or something and see if they would sponsor us for makeup wipes because we use so
Yes,
many of them.
yes.
And they were like, "Yeah,
True
this is
life.
something we do."
That's a great
That
idea.
is so funny.
Yeah.
Man, all the bands have told me about the makeup wipes. Fred was like, "Oh man, on tour we'd just be ripping through the bastard cross, be ripping through the makeup wipes." I'm like,
And they're just doing the eye makeup. I'm
they're
doing
just
full
doing. You're
beat.
doing
Like I have
what?
layers.
What is the white base that you use? Because your white is starker than mine, and I look at you upstage on stage sometimes, and I'm like, I am lacking right now. John's stealing the show.
I use so early on I was using this stuff called Ben Nye Clown White. It was
That's
like
what
this
I use.
thick grease paint.
Yeah.
That stuff was great, but then it was horrible to get off. So
Mhm.
now I use this stuff called Miron Cream Blend Stick.
Okay.
It's like theater quality white makeup. And then
Mhm.
I also use like a loose white powder on top to like compress it down.
Compress it
Um,
down.
yeah, that way you get like a matte white finish. Otherwise, if you just use the stick, it's kind of shiny still, which I don't
Shiny.
like. So
You
this is
should
how
Well,
definitely
obsessive I am
send.
of this.
You should definitely send pictures into Miron though. They do usually do collabs and
they
like
do collabs and
work with
See, this is
influencers.
info I need, right?
Yeah, you're like, get me my
I'm
pen.
buying. I'm keeping them in business right now. I'm buying like 20 of those a year at this point.
Start tagging because they honestly might start sending you them.
I
On
do the 31 days of Halloween. So like I'll do it up and Miron has a whole thing for 31 days of Miron makeup. Like they have their own section. So I would just start tagging the shit out of your pics and videos with their makeup.
That's a good idea.
That's definitely the move. Speaking about your image, your image and stage presence on stage are very striking. Is there any media or TV that you draw from for your visual style and performance? Like,
That's a good question. It's kind of an evolution of things. Like I always there's like a fun question. It's like who do you do when you play live? You know what I mean?
yeah,
A lot of musicians like draw from different people and stuff like that. Um, I feel like I draw more from like movies than music a lot of times. You know what I mean? Obviously vampire movies.
obviously.
Nosferatu is like a big one for me. Just like I don't know, like the like surprised, crazed look that like he has in the movie is like something I always thought is really cool. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna bring this into like live performance and stuff like that. A lot of the, like the more 90s symphonic black metal stuff too. And then honestly, like, you know, obviously like we have like our black metal stuff, but most of it comes from like Japanese punk, like I said.
Yeah.
The band Zuo, like they did corpse paint like as a punk band, which was always like this huge thing that we thought was like so awesome. There's also this band called Mobs that I was really hugely influenced by. And they would like paint up again. It'd like paint their faces look like skeletons and stuff when they played. And then the Misfits, obviously, the Misfits are like
Definitely.
the core of everything that I've ever done in my life is like circles back down to the Misfits. Like it's still to me to this day like the coolest band ever. The lore, just like the music, like who they are. I was just like obsessed with them when I was a kid. I had a different Misfits shirt for every day of the week when I was in middle school, so I was,
We were
I was
just
that
cracking up
kid.
about that. I went into Siren Records and I thought I had every Misfit shirt. Like I've been bragging to everyone. I'm like, yeah, I got all the shirts. I walked in. I found this like I've never seen it before. It's got them all on horses, and it's very like kind of like patriotic looking.
It's a weird one. That's cool.
Yeah, I actually wore it. I rocked it a little bit on Memorial Day. I was like, it's kind of patriotic.
You were like,
Misfits
now I'm
patriotic
festive.
shirt.
Yeah, this is my Patriot shirt. I was gonna say we had Jerry Only's son on here, Jerry Elder. That was like an interesting. That was definitely. What was that last year?
That was for your birthday.
That was for my birthday. Yeah, that was wild. That was really funny. That was like very interesting. I was like, this is like
He
I did
still
not
holds
know.
the spot for most views, though.
Most
Let's throw
views,
that out
man.
there.
I was
Shout
like,
out to Jerry Other.
shout out to Gary Other. Like, I was just like, life has gotten me to so many interesting places. I did not think I would be sitting here talking to Jerry Only's son on, in my bedroom. I was like, I'm doing everything these days.
Milestones.
It was like a how did I get here moment. I was like, interesting.
It wasn't even my birthday, and I was feeling it.
I know. You were like freaking out. I was like freaking out. I was like, man, this is so wild. One of the questions I wanted to ask is, did you guys always have a clear idea of what you wanted to do with the band?
I'd say since the day one, we had the whole idea of like the theatrics and like painting up and stuff like that. That was always going to be like from the day we started till the day we end. Like that's the way that we always saw it. I think in recorded history of us being a band, there's only been one show that we ever did where one of us wasn't in makeup. Like we played this show where it was incredibly last minute and I had to work that day. Literally like rolled up from my job and then just like had a guitar handed to me to play the set. So I like turned away from the crowd and played like facing away from it because I was like, I felt I felt so weird not being able to play in makeup.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the style that we've had and like what we've been trying to do, it's like it's always had like the same idea in mind. The only thing that we always try to do is like slowly evolve it in different ways, and obviously we don't want to like stray too far away from where we started and what we're trying to do, but yeah, we've had it like the general concept of the band has always stayed the same ever since like day one.
You guys used to use a lot more props, I feel like.
Yeah.
In the beginning of it. I don't know, like, have you guys
We
like
kept getting in trouble for that.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if they're trying to take themselves like really
No, I think that was like the misconception with a lot of people. They were like, "Oh, why don't you?" Because we used to cover the whole stage in cobwebs, which was like this idea I had one day where I was like, "This would be it looked insane if we played this way," and I love it, and I wish we still could do it, but if you aren't aware, cobwebs are incredibly flammable.
Oh, insanely.
So the stages won't let us put them out because a light might cause them to set on fire, and like it's a whole big thing. So we had to like start looking for like fireproof ones, and they just don't exist. So it was like a point where we were like, all right, we just have to, unfortunately move on from this idea, which sucks, but I still love that.
I think we need to get on Spirit of Halloween and have them put out
some flame-proof webs.
We need these for Devil Master specifically. I would say, and one of the really interesting shows that I watched you do is when you did 2 sets a night. You played with Scarab and that you played with Devil Master. It was seeing you going from like hardcore mode to Tombstone Shadow mode, because I was like, my man's got the cutoffs and then my man's got the cape, and I was like, how did he do the full face beat? I was like, this is like too much for my brain to comprehend, because that was like, I can't even do that.
That was like my Clark Kent Superman moment where I just had to like act like a normal and then run into the back immediately after we played and start throwing my makeup on. Like,
you have to get in the zone, or can you just switch it on and off?
I don't know. I've gotten really good. Obviously it's like being backstage at a show is never like the peace and tranquility you want. So I've gotten into the point where I'm like, all right, it doesn't matter what I'm doing or where I am. I can just like kind of get in the zone and like do my thing and get ready. I do prefer to like just kind of be in a quiet area and just like to me, like putting on makeup and stuff like that is very like, it's a weird like ritual that I have, and I start it very early and I really take my time doing it because it's like puts me in a headspace where I'm like prepared to like play live. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's I don't know. It's like putting my armor on, and then I can go do the thing that I have to
I
do. You
get
know?
you. I get it entirely. Absolutely.
Like
That
I
is
go these,
definitely motivating.
that must be like so crazy to be on stage, like especially with the moshing. Like I watched this weekend, like they had the American mosh pits out, and these people were just going crazy, and like the, it's like I just if I were on stage, like I would just be looking down at the mosh pit, like kind of wanting to go into it, but like not being a little cautious. Like, do you get down and get into the mosh pit ever?
No, I'm too
No.
old for that now.
I'm like
I'm like
retired.
I'm happy I'm up here and not in the mix. You know
Down
what I mean?
there. Oh
I
yeah.
always get caught in the mosh pit because I'll be up front like taping or like going live, and before I know it, it's like chaos behind me. But
I always say I retired because somebody threw a chair like at the old hardcore shows. People used to just like if you don't let them find a chair because they will throw it
Oh
across the
yeah.
oh no
you're gonna hit
folding
my
chair like
chairs.
hide the folding chairs at the church and like veterans halls like the VCA like hide them all because some dude's gonna I'm like that too many chairs thrown you get that was like when I retired from like the doing no more two steps for Jesse. But and then I think the last time I got into a pit was like Gate Creeper like 3 years ago. And that's because I was just really feeling it. But
Yeah. Every so often, I'm like, oh man, like I watched Weekend Nachos at MDF, and I was like, maybe I'll get in the mix,
I
and then I
miss
was like, never mind, I'm not doing.
I
I'm
miss
like,
them. I was
they
so upset.
were so good. They were
I
awesome.
bet they were. I bet they were.
Last time I
Seeing
saw them was in a basement in West Philly in like 2009 or
You know
something
what?
like
that
that.
Those are
So it
the
was kind of
best
crazy.
shows.
it
Those
was
are the
awesome.
best
Yeah, it
shows.
was awesome.
I was gonna say, seeing some people come out of the pit at MDF, I was like, I'm happy I'm not you. Like this, did you see the guy with just like the swollen black eye? I was like, you saw him? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, man, I'm happy I don't go in those
A lot of
anymore.
bloody noses, a lot of like
Yeah,
pretty banged up people. And I'm like, it's kind of funny because like, you know, I'm the day walker. I'm like in between so many scenes. I go to a lot of
yeah,
like heavy hardcore shows and like
hmm
black metal and death metal and stuff. And like the death metal and black metal shows are pretty mild in terms of like the
yeah,
moshing.
yeah,
And I watch people get wrecked at hardcore shows, but I there was like a high level of injury at MDF this weekend, which I was like very interesting, very
You're
out of the
saying
norm.
you've played that show at what was the Lithuanian Music Hall? How have well, the one in like Port Richmond or whatever?
Hmm.
Like the photos coming out of there have been absolutely insane. I need to go to one of those shows. How have
It's
they been?
awesome. It has a great like old VFW hall vibe, you know what I mean? It's like if you want to relive your teenage glory
Yeah,
days, then that is like the best venue for that right now.
I've been like obsessed with wanting to go there. It was ever since there was like a bunch of photos came out of there like last month, and I was like, I need to go to this place, especially now living in Port Richmond. I was like, this is the only thing I care about. I heard that the tickets are $25, but I'm gonna get every single penny out of that. Um, I was going to say, how do you balance your music career and personal life going through being in so many different scenes and with like your life and your work? How do you balance it all?
I luckily work in like a field that not necessarily encourages travel, but it's like kind of an expected thing. I
Hmm.
work in climbing, so climbing is like a lot of traveling involved with it. A lot of people will come and go out of my job and like go live in their van for a couple months and go
What's
climb
the
and stuff.
coolest thing you've climbed?
I've done some like stuff in PA. It's been really awesome. I've been trying to get outside more, but honestly, touring makes it a little hard because I'm like usually away for there's like outdoor season, you know what I mean? Like it's
Hmm.
the certain weather you're supposed to go out and climb outside. But climbing outside is very awesome and very scary. It is very cool though.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I've traveled a lot with like music, and like it's like very similar in a sense to this type of traveling that people do for climbing. So um, luckily with that, they're very understanding. And before then, like restaurants, worked in restaurants for a long time. You know what I
How
mean?
did you get into climbing? Is that such a
It's very bizarre. It's,
Yeah,
I got into it a little bit later in my life. It was something I was very interested in. I have like a deep affinity for like being outside and nature and stuff like that. So loved hiking and stuff like that. And I was like that. I always saw that as like the next evolution of that is climbing. Meeting friends who were into it, and then just I was at the gym so often that I'm like, I should just work here. It's just a lot easier and more cost efficient to just like work there, and then eventually just like made that like pretty much my full time job outside of music.
that's
that's
incredible.
cool.
You're like just like very passionate. Like it seems like everything you're like, I want to do that. You're like you completely do it fully.
Yeah, I can't be normal. I have to do like the most extreme variation of something
Normal's
and do it as
overrated.
much. Yeah,
That's good though. It means like I don't know, you're successful at what you do because you fall in love with some things totally. You know, you don't have, you know, fall into things.
yeah.
Devil
With
Master has
wearing the makeup, what's the weirdest reaction that you've gotten from a fan?
I'd say early on, a lot of people didn't really understand what was happening and what we were doing, which was kind
Mhm.
of fun. You know what I mean? A lot of people were just like, "What the hell is this?" We played like a big punk fest in Toronto early on in our career, and it was really like way before a lot of people knew who we were, and like some people knew our demo and stuff like that, but a lot of people didn't know who we were, what we were doing, and like so we showed up and we had this banner with like our logo on it with like a skeleton hand and stuff, and we put out the webs and we're standing up on stage in cloaks, and it's just like a room of like D-beat punk kids, and they're all just looking at us like, what is this? And I've never seen like a reaction turn so quickly. People were so excited afterwards because they just couldn't believe that we like, because like I don't know, like you said, like we're passionate about stuff. We go all the way in,
Mhm.
and we were like, we're not going to do this half-ass. We're gonna like show up and do this all the way. You know what I mean? So
You were like,
it
we're
was like
gonna
really
fucking
cool.
rip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was
Um.
actually surprised because, like, from your flyer and like from your pictures, like you look like a totally different person.
Yeah.
Not
It's like yeah.
only that, John's fucking swole. So like you like when when I every time I see you, I'm just like, my man, you have rock climbing body. Like it's just like incredible. I'm like,
He
my
reminds me of like a
man.
goth GQ, like a goth
Thank you. That's
GQ
cool.
cover. That's what that's
Yeah,
what the flyer reminds me of.
I'm like cool.
It's a
Like
vibe.
m- can hang with the best of them, my dude. But super sick. I love that. Also, like I always think it's funny, like the D, like you being like the D beat kids were like, "What is this?" Because I've been to a couple D beat shows and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I don't know if this qualify as pants anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, we're everyone's in their patch pants, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean, and we showed up in like floor length cloaks and stuff, and they're just like could not understand what was happening. And I always that's like one standout moment that I always remember like as a band. Um I always have more fun playing shows where we're just like such a huge outlier, you know what I
hmm,
mean, than the ones where it's sort of expected, because it's like it could go one of two ways. Both ways are very entertaining. You know what I mean? It could go really well, or people are just like sort of angry and confused. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
either way is kind of cool.
I was gonna say Devil Master has toured extensively. Do you have any memorable tour moments or favorite venues you like to play?
Whew, I mean, we've done a lot of stuff at this point. Obviously, like the big ones have been like the My Chemical Romance shows for us. I mean, it's such an unreal, unfathomable experience that we've had, and You know what I mean? I can easily say that I've done something in my life that very few people have ever done in like the history of
And they're
music, you know what I mean?
incredible. I've seen them in concert. They're
Yeah,
incredible.
like
The
they're
photos
so cool and
of you
so
with
humble.
Broadway are so cool. I was like
He is so
fangirling.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
He is so cool. Those guys were just
They
so
could not have
incredibly.
webs on stage though. Their webs,
No, no, no
they would
webs
go
for
up.
us.
They had so
um,
many flames going at their show
yeah,
in New
they have a
Jersey.
big destroyed city behind them and stuff while they play. It's cool. I really love them. And just as people, they're probably like the coolest band that I've ever had the chance to play with, just because of how, you know what I mean? Things can go in one direction or the other, you know, when a band is that legendary and like
Mhm.
they are 100% just cool dudes that just love music and they want to like hang out and talk about stuff and are very excited about where music is and where it's going and like it's so easy they could so easily be like very jaded or like just
Yeah.
completely not into it anymore, but that's it's the very opposite of that. So I'm very thankful to them and like the opportunities they gave us and stuff.
That's such a good like I mean like talk about like feeding
That's a
your inner
goodie for the
child.
resume.
Yeah. That's super sick.
How did things change after playing that show?
We definitely got a lot of recognition in like circles that definitely weren't not the ones that we frequent. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You know,
Oh, I
a
bet.
lot of like younger. You know, it was crazy. Like I had kids coming up to me and telling me like, "Hey, you know, you were the very first live band I've ever seen in my whole life," which is
Whoa.
insane to think about. Like
Whoa.
my music was the first thing they ever saw live. You know. And something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So it found its way into a lot of circles that certainly wouldn't have been before. You know what I mean? We don't sound anything like My Chemical Romance. You can argue that we have very similar interests and like influences and stuff
Mhm.
like that, but obviously sound wise, it's
Hey,
very
I
different.
I love concerts that are not one set genre. Like
Yeah, it's
I
good.
I love them. Like I think more and more people should start mixing.
Mixing the bills. I love a mixed bill.
It's cool. It's like I mean, I wouldn't be here where I am today if it weren't for like going to a show and like bands that I wouldn't typically know about or see or hear about were playing, you know what I mean? That's
Mm.
always had a huge influence on me, like and like looking and discovering music, you know.
Mhm. Right after COVID, all the bills were super, super mixed, and I was just seeing like some very interesting mixes of bands, and I found some super sick bands that way. Do you have any favorite venues to play
Ooh. Um
Or even
s-
cities.
or cities?
cities.
Yeah.
Texas is always great for us. I love going to Texas. We always have a great time there. Most passionate music fans you could have in the world. Um, honestly, like the coolest, most memorable shows we ever played is we did like 9 shows in Mexico.
Oh hell yeah!
And they were so awesome. And everyone was so excited to see us and just see music, you know what I mean? It was
Hmm.
incredibly humbling and like such an influential experience to me, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we had a guy who took a bus 12 hours just to see us, which is like I can't even imagine that, you know. But
That's
people just are so
commitment.
yeah, exactly, and it's like they're so passionate about music that it's like so cool. I definitely want to get back there soon and play more shows. It was honestly very very fun, very cool experience.
I love that so much. I know the South American community, like they fucking come out, they show up. Do you have any advice for kids out there trying to start their first band and get their music out there?
Honestly, just like go for it, man. I like there is literally no reason why I should be where I am with music. You know, I have no experience with music. Um, I just say like be your most authentic self when you're making music, and like people will see that and be like attracted to it. And like it'll go a lot further than like if you're trying like being too obvious with trying to make your music popular, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Just be authentic about it. And like I said, I mean, I've played in like coliseums to 20,000 plus people, and I've never taken a single day of music, like theory or anything like that. I've never learned classically about playing music in my whole life. And I just say, like, just go for it, man. There's literally nothing stopping you. If I can do it, then literally anyone can. So
Were you like shitting yourself the first time you got on stage from
it was the most mortifying experience I've ever had in my life.
Rad?
But because of that, it's like I can never be nervous about pretty much anything that I ever do, because nothing will ever be as challenging as that experience was. One thing going into that a lot of people weren't aware of was originally we were slotted to play for just 25 minutes. Very easy. I'd see like 4 songs.
Mhm.
A few days prior to us playing,
You got some
the
more
other
time.
the other opener dropped and they added 20 more minutes to our slot. So we essentially had to play every song that we have live and in front of 25,000 people, which is just like bone chilling to think about. But it's like the way, like the one thing I'll never forget is I was standing by the side of the stage, and from people talking and being in the room was vibrating, and you could feel
Wow.
the room vibrating from people walking and talking and standing. And I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to play on stage? But you know what I mean? It's like you just got to get into a place in your head and just go there and just be like, I'm the fucking shit. I have to do this right now. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I had to do. I just like walked on stage. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck. Like I just gotta play music. You know what I mean?
You just go into like mode where you're like, I've just have this all muscle memory downloaded into my brain. Gotta crank this shit out.
Yeah, I mean, it was barely muscle memory because of the fact that we had to learn more music before we played too. So it was
Oh
like
man.
that was an added layer of like stress on top of it. And I it was really funny, and like a lot of my friends were there to help, and they were a lot more nervous than I was, which was kind of tripping me out. I'm like, why are you nervous? I have to go
If
do
you,
this right now. You got
if
to be
you're
normal,
nervous,
man. You can't do this to me.
you're like, you're not allowed to be nervous because I'm
Yeah,
supposed to be the one that's nervous.
I'm supposed to be freaking out right now. You can't be freaking out.
Yeah.
So
That's like you got to take one song at a time, and like every time you end that song and hear those cheering, like you did something good, and you move on to the next.
yeah, all right. Made it through that song. Made it through that song. You know what I mean? Just get through the set one song at a time.
That's amazing. Well, that's like give yourself the ultimate pat on the back because I would have cracked at that. I would have been like, I don't know what I'm doing, start playing random stuff. What is in rotation for you right now? Do you have any music recommendations for our listeners?
Oh, I've been again revisiting a lot of
That
old
song, add
bands.
it to the playlist. We got to know this.
Add it to the
Yeah.
playlist. I'm playing in a new project right now. I'm really excited about. I really like the music a lot. It's very fun to play. It's called Final Resting Place. It's like more of like an old school death metal, like New York death metal style
Oh
band, which is
hell
very
yeah.
fun to play. Um, Definitely recommend checking that out. We dropped a demo like a couple months ago now. So I've been listening to that, because you got to be your own biggest fan sometimes. Only way to like,
The
you know
names
what I
are
mean.
awesome.
It's a good one. What else have I been listening to? A lot of really good stuff going on in hardcore right now. I'm really excited about what's going on. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff happening in Philly and locally and stuff like that. There's a East Coast band called Wreckage that just dropped a new EP that's really really good. Um, yeah, trying to stay like diverse with like music and listening to a lot of stuff like that. Um, all over the place.
What's
Philadelphia
your
has
favorite spot in Philly?
Favorite spot in Philly to see a show or just
Yeah,
to
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 play.
hang out?
Or
To
like to
play
play
in
or to see,
Philly.
yeah, to see a show.
Um, so I've only gotten to play there once ever, and it's funny because we talked about it earlier. But the first Unitarian
Mhm.
was like a dream come true for me to
Oh
play
yeah.
there in my life. I was like, I've like wanted to do these like full circle moments where I've gotten to play at like these influential places that I've gotten to go to as a kid and like that influenced me.
Mhm.
Um, one of the other ones was finally getting to play like Franklin Music Hall or the Electric
Awesome.
Factory.
Mhm.
The last one on my list is the Trocadero, which I mean, fingers crossed one day it will happen, but um, that was like one of my favorite places to see shows as a kid. So I would like absolutely die to play there one day finally.
I hear a lot of rumors on whether it's going to reopen or not, or what really is going on, and it sounds like it's currently like kind of stuck in a limbo. But I for some reason thought you were gonna just absolutely yank my chain or just like throw a really random spot in there and be like, I just like love playing the snake pit or like something
I
like
think I
that.
played there once and it was kind of awesome. I
It was kind of awesome. Yeah, the
yeah.
snake pit is hard. Like, I went to the Concrete Caveman show, the record release show at the snake pit, and I was like, the vibes are immaculate.
Those are
Absolutely.
that's cool, man. That's old school shit. Like I love an old school venue. It's like has a good feeling to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love playing on the floor. You know what
I
I mean?
love a
Like
good floor
lights
show.
on sometimes if it has to be. You know what I
That
mean?
is the most hardcore kid thing I've ever heard in my life. I love playing floor shows. I'm like when the band plays on the floor, somebody's gonna die. Like somebody's getting swung on. It's straight up like take a swing at me. Like when the floor show, everybody's out there. It is judo tryouts at a floor show.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 every time.
Hey,
They're
Devil Master has done a plenty of floor shows. Trust me.
really
Yeah.
wow. I love that so much though.
I don't know after Air Draw Dagger came on and said they were doing a floor show and like all these nude seniors like ran into the venue like they were
That's
doing
a
like a dash or
lot.
something.
Yeah.
Whenever I see a floor show like venue, I'm like, that could happen. Like you could have naked seniors running through your show, and you'd have to
My
deal with
That's a
it.
very
It's a
interesting
straight poker
situation.
face.
my floor show that I was like, tonight I'm gonna die. I've been to two shows and I'm like, I'm gonna die at this one. This is gonna be the one that gets me. Um, the first one, nobody's surprised. It was that Reverb.
I
Um,
can see you. I can see you, little
I was
self,
like,
like throwing
it was
elbows,
like,
like
so it was right after COVID. Everybody was like knocked loose, arf arf. It is Tearing the Fabric of Life tour. Kubla Khan opened. So they got them real amped up. They're ready to go. Knocked Loose comes out. I'm like, it was like crowd killing Palooza. I was like, yo, at every hardcore show, like they form a girlfriend nest. Like I call it the girlfriend nest. It's like where there's a wall, they enclose us, and it's like all the little shrimps that don't want to be involved. There's always girls toughing it out in there, and then there's the nest. I'm safe within the nest, and then you have your pick guards. You know, the rocks out. Keeping us all safe. At one point, the guy in front of me just gets knocked out, cold on the floor, nose bleeding. I was like, the nest has been breached. We've been breached. I need to get out of here. That was like when I was like, today's the day I die. And the second
That was a
one,
floor show you said, or
I
was it
don't.
just
I
like a
don't
scary?
see you
no,
leaving if
that was
there's a
the show
good band
I thought I
on
was gonna
stage.
die at. The second one is a floor show. That was the Acacia Strain at the Yuki Club.
Okay, yeah, that's on the floor they played. That's
On the
crazy.
floor. On the floor. And Sangwa Sugabog opened and they played all their hardcore, more adjacent stuff. And I was like, I was like, this is good. Kind of like their other stuff, but they're gonna play like stuff I like too. So I was like, woo, Sango Sukabog. Keisha Train starts playing. It's a floor show. They come out. Everybody, it is straight judo. It is like there's nowhere to stand. It is like Beyblades. They are Beyblading against each other. It was like, my God, crazy. Body Box played too. It was Body Box sang with Sugabog and Acacia Train. I kind of fuck with Body Box's new music. Some people are like, I don't like that slide they be doing. There's like a song they have like, and
slide
I'm like,
guitar or something.
they got a slide guitar in there, and I'm like, I kind of fuck with it.
Why do I feel like that's gonna be a short?
Probably.
Like
Yeah.
You're playing the slider is gonna be a short on our show.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know. Somebody will probably clip that and send it to me, and I'll be like, thanks.
Slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass. I just told a story yesterday that like the first time my first boyfriend only played slap bass. Oh, he wanted to be Les Claypool. Did deeply. So for like 5 years, I only watched somebody pop and slap, and then I saw somebody play like in a bass in a black metal band when I was like 18, and I was like, "You're playing the whole thing wrong. You don't know. You gotta walk the thing. You gotta bum 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 bum." I was like, "This man has no idea what he's doing. Absolutely no clue. You need the 4-string bass that looks like it came out of Dr. Seuss." That's all I knew.
I'm blown away because I just thought that was from Yes Man, or I Love You Man, like the slapping the bass. I didn't realize it was like actually a thing.
Oh, you didn't realize it was actually a thing? I go crazy for slap bass. Here's my suggestion: Devil Master was slip a slap bass, and I always say slip a slap bass, and that everybody's like, your opinion is nigh. Your opinion does not matter, Jess.
I played with my other band, the band I was talking about earlier, Final Resting Place. We played this show in New York a couple weeks ago. Very sweaty show. And I dropped my pick and I had to do like finger bass for the rest of the song. And I was like, it was pretty cool. I felt pretty badass doing that, but I was like, yeah, let me grab a pick again. I can't keep doing this.
To rotate back to Spirit Possession, did you realize that guy plays with his fingers the whole time?
Yeah, it is unreal. That is like so incredibly impressive. And watching him, like, it's just like accentuating the strings and playing like, it's like almost mariachi guitar style. You know what I mean? It's so incredible.
The first time I saw them, I was like mind blown. I was like, I am so impressed with this person right now. And the fact that it's a 2-piecer, I was just like, awesome. Before I wrap up, are there any bands that you dream or really want to play with going forward that you would love to play with? Hardcore or with Scarab or with any of your other bands?
Yeah, we got to hear about collabs.
Oh man, the one that we were like holding out for so long, we were very excited to do with Devil Master was Gizm, but that's obviously not going to happen ever again, which is a bummer. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's because of like how long we've been doing this for. I've gotten to play with like almost every band that I've ever really wanted to play with, including ones that I never even knew about prior, and then like playing shows with them, realizing like, wow, this is like an honor to be able to play music with this band right now. You know what I mean? Like our whole entire tour with Worm and stuff.
That was sick.
Yeah, I was just like, I love their music, everything they do aesthetically and stuff like that. And like, it was such a huge honor to get to play with them every night. That tour was like such a cool experience. I don't know. It's hard. The future's always ahead of us, and I'm always excited to like see what's next and what we get to do with the music. And like I said, I've been fortunate enough to play with like a lot of the bands that have been hugely influential to me as a musician. I guess maybe Slayer. That would be like a full circle moment for me to get to play with Slayer, because that was the very first band I ever got to see live. I would say the Misfits, but we played with the Misfits like at a fest before. So Danzig would be a huge one. If we could land a tour with Danzig,
Danzig still goes
die
hard.
very
I saw
happy.
him for my birthday, and he was like, he went on a couple of boomer rants. I was like, hell yeah, Dan. I was like, whatever you say, Dan. Like, woo. I was just like, I was hype manning him. I would love to see you guys do some really cool splits or something, just for like collective value, because I love
the value. We got to get the collectors.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
No, we got some stuff up our sleeve. We definitely have some things in the works that maybe in that general vicinity. So keep that in mind for sure.
And this is like I love the album covers. That's just like one of my favorite things with Devil Master, especially just like opulent all around, like visual appeal. When I walk into a record store, I am always drawn to the Devil Master. Even prior to knowing you, it's just like that's initially how I did find the band. Was the vinyl. I was like, that's insane. And I just wanted to shout that out, that you guys are just like aesthetics all around, and I just love it so much. Where can we find your music? I guess
all the streaming things,
all the distributors,
Instagram, share, like, and subscribe, or whatever people say. Check out all of our stuff. We got stuff on streaming, and we're working on some new stuff. We'll have some new stuff hopefully out sooner rather than later, and hopefully play some cool shows soon too as well. So
what are you thinking is the vibe for your new music?
It's like the same thing that we've always tried to do, is take what the core idea was and keep evolving it. So it's just like a more ridiculous version of what we've always done. You know what I mean? It's just like, how can we make this more over the top? And that's like the general guideline. You know what I mean? Obviously, we have our core sound that we want to stick to, and add different elements and exaggerate certain things, but essentially it's always going to be very similar, but just over exaggerated over time, and hopefully see where that evolves the band sound wise.
Awesome. That definitely gives us something to look forward to. I also just want to thank you so much for coming on, and I'll definitely probably see you in the next 2 weeks, because I feel like I run into you. We run into each other constantly, so
for sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
No, I appreciate it. Very cool questions. Thank you for having me on.
No problem.
All right. Take care, y'all. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And everybody can go on Spotify, Devil Master.
Or Scarab. Amazing bands. Very talented, sick music, gnarly riffs. I definitely.
It's so funny because when you send me like the flyers with their pictures, I'm like,
you're like, what am I getting?
I'm fascinated. Like, what's this person gonna be like? And then they come on and they're like, totally
very chill. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in metal are just like, they're just like everyday people. Like I don't really know anyone who's like, I am the gimmick. Like, I feel like a lot of time the gimmick, like, I don't know. I just feel like everyone, they're everyday people. And I think that it gets lost in translation for some people sometimes. But I have a lot of great friends in the metal scene. So.
And I just have to throw out there that we won the Michigan Metal tickets this weekend. And I literally thought of you right away, because
hell yeah.
I like metal, but I'm very picky with my metal. Yeah. And the bands that I know that are playing there, I see them a lot. I don't really need to go to Michigan, but
I get
it. I thought of you and Frank right away. I'm like, dude, they will
hell
go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's only 9 hours.
Yeah, it's only 9 hours.
Often.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Make it a day trip.
Yeah, right. Well, that's some super, super sick. I hope you have fun at the show you went to, the one at Sweden's.
Oh my, it was amazing. Let me just tell you that all those bands, I've just got the opportunity to see them grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just amazing. I mean, it's really been, it just makes me happy. Like, I mean, Strange Culture, just, they were fire.
Mm-hmm.
Desolation,
Mm-hmm.
they really impressed me. And then,
Oh, my friend's in that band.
really, they are incredible. But then to
Yeah.
drop everything, we got totally surprised, and it was amazing. Dale from Young Other performed with Nailbite and told me that they are coming out with new music.
Awesome.
So that's something to look forward to. And we definitely will be having them on the show because they're amazing. Have you ever heard Cabin Fever?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you have
Yeah.
to look it up. Totally worth
I
it.
will.
Such a good song. And the music video is incredible.
That's awesome.
And they just put out, I think Beacon is their latest one, I believe. And man, the music videos are so cool.
I love a good music video.
Me too. And they're like really cool because they're like black and white and very like just different from any of the other ones that have been coming out. So yeah, I'm here for it. But Dale got up and performed with Lana and Johnny, and it was, I think, the entire crowd just got so hype after that. And the lead singer of Desolation, he performed with Nailbite, or no, Lana performed with them. That was a really cool performance. Like, it was just a really fun night. American Mosh Pits was there.
Ooh, gross. I mean,
and they have huge they like throw huge mosh pits, but it's like the coolest thing to watch because they're very contained. It's like chaotic within like the little bubble, but they keep it pretty contained and like in order. So
yeah,
but it's a fun experience. Anybody that's not following American Mosh Pits, please make sure to go on and give them a follow. I love seeing their videos of them just posting all over, just starting these crazy mosh pits. But, well, I guess we should wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in tonight. It's so nice to be here another night for another episode.
We appreciate having you. Like, comment, and subscribe.
And go check out Devil Master.